Good morning and thank you very much for joining us. I am Yori Folari. Hope you had a great weekend. We're starting from a bit, far afield, talking about Taraba State. And our guest this morning is Mr. Emmanuel Bello. He's the Special Advisor, Media and Digital Communications to the Governor, Dr. Agu Kefas. He joins us by Zoom. So good morning to you, Mr. Emmanuel Bello.
Good morning. It's a pleasure being with you this morning.
Indeed. Thank you very much for making the time. Because we do want to, we like to sort of find out about Taraba. There's so many, I imagine there are a number of things going in there. We'll see how many of them we can touch on. I do know that security is an issue that your governor has, been sort of been underlining. There have been a number of there's something that we can speak about there in terms of security. There's also solid minerals, and the governor at one time set up a task force to combat illegal mining. All of that we shall be able to touch. But let me just ask you, what's the state of affairs in Taraba since the governor, Governor Agu Kefas, took over?
Well, thank you. You're right. There are a collection of things and a lot of things that we can talk about. I just pray we have all the time to talk about them. But the state of affairs now is that the increase of things.
Did it freeze? I think the thing froze. Mr. Bello? Yes. Uh-huh. Oh, you see. We'll be right back. In case you're just joining us, we're just about to start. You haven't missed much. Okay, I hear that you're coming back, Mr. Bello.
It means you have set up
Mr. Bello, I'm afraid, Mr. Bello, I'm afraid, you were cut out, the transmission. So we hadn't heard all that you said in the past 30 seconds or so. So I was asking, your assessment of the state of affairs in Taraba since the governor took over, as a general kind of a question before we start going into the specifics. So I think you were answering that question, but you were cut out. Would you? I hope you won't mind.
Yes, sorry about that. I was saying that our people have grown to trust the governor to deliver on his campaign promise and the things he has set out to do, and there are many of those already. And what you're having now is this increase in the desire in so many quarters to key into the moving forward agenda of the governor, whether it's the area of solid minerals we're going to discuss up ahead, or in the very, very sensational free education declaration that he made, or in his effort to ensure that we're able to tap into our agricultural potentials in the state, or even the partnership he seeks to agenda between us and our partners around the world. These are the things that are really exciting the people. It makes them to have a lot of faith in the ability of Dr. Agu Kefas to deliver. So if you're asking about the state of affairs, that is where we are. Our people, having come from what clearly has been a very horrid past, are really prepared and anticipatory, very hopeful. The moving forward agenda is going to restore those hopes and also put our state on the map. It is now Dr. is getting a lot of accolades, a lot of applause for some of his groundbreaking efforts to rejuvenate the state, reinvigorate it, the civil force, and just about as much as work with every segment of the state to achieve some really great desired end.
Well, unfortunately, insecurity, I don't think there's any state in the country that doesn't have, that insecurity is not a sort of a frontline charge on. Just about everybody is. So I wanted to ask you, since the governor, since arriving, has been very particular about that, he has sought the collaboration of traditional rulers. He has asked the people to work and collaborate with the army. He himself, that is Dr. Kefas himself, being a former military officer, retired as a lieutenant colonel, it's his terrain. So, you know, what would be an assessment of the state of it, of the state of insecurity, or shall I say, let me just say the state of security. Clearly, there's room for improvement. Talk about that a bit, please.
Yeah, you know, you're actually right when you also say the state of insecurity. But yes, the governor sees security as an area that, you know, he must just have to score excellently well there. You know, that this is his, this way you can call him an expert, given his roles in the past, first as a military man himself, an ex, you know, serviceman, who rose up the ranks as a lieutenant, the army, and even while there, he was actually in the intelligence corps. So Governor Kefas actually prides himself as someone that should be able to at least, you know, walk around that, because even long before he became governor, he has the young people and just about everyone to ensure that they is able to achieve some kind of peace, especially in this area that is the southern, you know, persistent crisis where a thing associated with the area. As a private person, he has worked assiduously with both the official and unofficial, you know, leadership in the state to deal with developing that area. And he's continued in that. One of the very first pronouncements he made is that, look, the duty of a governor of any state is to protect the lives and properties of the people. That's the first mandate.
Was it very bad before he assumed office? Or
well, like you said, no one is. I mean, the country itself is
exactly, yes.
But everyone, almost every aspect of our country is you know, has this crisis of insulated or isolated from the rest of the country. We've had our own share of crisis. It's a human environment, and where you have human beings, even if it's just the two of them, you cannot take away crisis altogether.
Okay.
So, whether they are, you know, tribal crises, you know, between the tribes, warring tribes, or even the one that, I mean, everyone is familiar with, the incursion of banditry and terror into states. All that problem that normally, you know, actually snowball into even higher criminality. Those are the sort of things that we've been dealing with and grappling with as a state. And, you know, we share borders with neighboring, one or two neighboring countries, and we were not insulated in any way. So it was in the midst of all of that that you know, Kefas came in, Governor Kefas came in, and beyond the fact that beyond his training in the military and the fact that he's good with intelligence gathering population, to see where we can broker some kind of understanding and, you know, nip some of these things in the bud. He's always told me that part of the ways to deal with security is actually work with the people, because the people, so partnering with the people, talking with them, having the kind of meetings he's having with the traditional leadership, like you noted earlier, and also providing the tools, the necessary tools needed by the law enforcers to be able to actually deal with this crisis, whether it's inner city crimes or the larger crisis of terror, or the ones that flow in from the borders, all sorts of crises. It takes more than funding, but he's not playing with that. You know, he's throwing money at the problem, but he's also throwing intelligence, he's throwing partnership with everyone. We have what is called the Taraba Marshal now, you know, a body that's set up to actually find way of working with the law enforcement to ensure that we have some modicum of stability in that direction.
Okay. Okay, not that I wanted to dwell unduly on security, but insecurity, but when the governor arrived, he had sort of served notice that all those kind of people should just move on. It's not going to be business as usual. as soon as they had come in. Shows the sort of seriousness of purpose that, look, in fact, I remember the way it was cast in the news at the time, repent or move on. So if you...
Exactly. Yes.
You recall?
Yeah. Well, yes. It's in the way that Dr. Kefas says some of these things. A little bit of some clarity in the way he wants to do it. He, like you noted, he feels rightly challenged that this is his area. Right. This is something he should be. He's done it in the past. He did it in the Niger Delta when he was able to be part and parcel of the amnesty movement between militants and federal government way back. I mean, he was. Most people will not know, but he was actually right in the middle. In the middle of those consultations and the peace that was brokered between the militants way back then. That actually helped in rejuvenating the oil revenue and all of that. If you remember clearly. The history of amnesty. He was part and parcel of it. Some people will even say probably the most central figure in that whole thing. So, and then of course, he's been to peacekeeping missions around the world. His training has sent him to those places. So this is his own place. This is his own area. He thinks that, I mean, beyond all the other things he's doing, he must be able to cut the state out, do some kind of groundbreaking work. In the area of security.
I beg your pardon for interrupting you, but let me bring on our first caller. She's been waiting, as a matter of fact. Good morning to you, Ada, calling in from Jos.
Good morning, Ada, calling from Jos, Massachusetts. Good morning to Mr. Emmanuel Bello.
Good morning.
This issue of insecurity is not just about Taraba. For me, it should be addressed holistically. My suggestion is that President Tinubu should have the political will to ban open grazing nationwide and adopt ranching. Decentralize the police for effective community policing. This can be achieved by amending whatever is to be amended to pave way for state police. Its advantages outweigh its disadvantages. If we are able to strengthen our institutions, it will be effective. There will be effective monitoring, and that will take care of any abuse. All forests should become nationwide with the use of air surveillance, ground troops in conjunction with local hunters and any other established security outfits in each state. Indeed. They should neutralize these bandits occupying the forest. After each operation, heavily armed forest guards should be permanently stationed there to guard the forest. So then another thing again is the insecurity cannot be tackled by only the gun. This is the gun. It can be tackled from the socio-economic viewpoint. Address the issues of injustice, and then food security, because a hungry man is an angry man and has no respect for law, authority, and humanity. Above all, fiscal federalism, otherwise known as restructuring, is the way to go. All the same, let's not give up on Nigeria. It shall be well.
Thank you very much, as always, Ada. In fact, you've managed to sort of give us the syllabus, so to speak, of what we shall be talking about, because there are other aspects to security, not just, the barrel of the gun, if necessary, if need be. And that's the kind of thing you've put it out there that the governor has been exploring multiple avenues, ranging from, especially enjoining the people to cooperate with the army, and also encouraging the traditional rulers, to be on board to this whole matter. But as Ada was saying, there are other aspects which sort of leads me to go into. I'm going to come to solid minerals, which is an important thing in Taraba. I'm going to come to that. But this the whole matter of getting agriculture. A hungry man, as Ada said, is an angry man. What can you tell me about agriculture in Taraba? What's your main crop there, and how well is it doing, and what is it that is being done for the farmers of the land in Taraba?
Well, yes, you're right, and this speaks to the whole thing about food security, and the ability to feed your people well, and like I was saying, that in our submission, the people are hungry. They probably will not have any respect for law and order. Taraba State prides itself as the food basket of the country. Of course, there's a state that calls itself that, but We also pride ourselves as a state that is the center of food production and agriculture. So we have great, serious, big potential for rice production, for instance. We like to say that the rice in Taraba can feed the rest of this country, whether you're talking about the potential or even the production itself. So those are the things. Taraba is one huge agricultural base, but you are right. Yeah, farmers need to be supported with all implements they need. So when this governor came up, he went straight into a tractorization kind of policy. The idea of providing reasonable, affordable tractors to farmers. Hitherto is coming. Not many farmers can boast that they can access what they call the government tractor hiring units. There weren't tractors there, so nobody was hiring anything. So, but what this governor has done is gone into partnership with, a company that's ready to supply as many as up to over 700 to 800 of those tractors. They are normally the modern type of tractors that are easily, they can be put to use so easily. As we speak, we're expecting the first batch to arrive. So, but beyond that, the governor continues to emphasize the need of access to fertilizer by farmers.
Exactly.
Because part of the crisis is that farmers will say, this fertilizer on the high side. But in Taraba State, we're beginning to subsidize that so that farmers will be able to, in a few days, for instance, there will be the truckloads of fertilizers will be there. And that, for us, we believe that will boost what is going on. But like Ada was saying, you need peace around the farms themselves for the farmers to be able to thrive.
That's right. For the farmers to even be able to access their farms.
Exactly.
But one moment, please. One moment, please. You continue because Aliyu in Yola has called in and I don't want to lose him. Good morning to you, Mr. Aliyu.
Oh, Mr. Yori, good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for calling in. What's your...
Yeah, Emmanuel Bello is a familiar name to us. He was been in Taraba state government from 1999 to date, I suppose. So he must be aware of all what is happening in Taraba state. However, Ada have said that we should ban open grazing all over Nigeria. I don't know if there is any difference between open grazing and open farming, crop farming. I don't know if there is any difference. Farms in Europe that they want to copy are enclosed farming in fence. So crop farming should be not open farming. Cattle farming should be in ranch.
Exactly.
So this is the way to go.
Exactly.
We must understand the farmer and the header, they are all Nigerians with equal rights, with equal privileges. He's talking about fertilizer now. I don't know how much he has spent, or the government of Taraba State has spent on the pastoralists and the animal production in Taraba State. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
He will tell us about it. He will tell us about it.
So insecurity is generated from not being fair to certain group of people, whether it is in Zamfara, whether it is in Taraba, whether it is anywhere in Benue or anywhere in Nigeria. All Nigerians should be treated equally with all sense of respect in their businesses and their rights as citizens. Then now is the best way to go. Anywhere injustice thrives, there will never be peace in that environment.
Okay.
So we should all acknowledge we are all Nigerians. We all practice what we practice, but we have equal rights as citizens.
Indeed.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Aliyu, calling in from Yola. There was never any question about the point you make. Yeah, we are all Nigerians, whereas there are, cattle rearers, there are also farmers. And as you know, you just said it, everybody has a right, whatever your own occupation or profession is. So farmers don't want their crops destroyed, and I think that was where the whole matter of ranching comes in, so that both of them can, exist together. But we have Mr. Emmanuel Bello to talk to us about that. How much of a challenge is that? Because it has always been in certain areas. I don't know if how how pronounced it is in Taraba. This whole matter about conflicts between cattle herders, rearers, those animal husbandry people and farmers, especially complaints in certain areas when you have open grazing. People, cattle trample. You know all about it. Is that something that is well in hand, or is that a work in progress?
Well, yeah. Thank you, Ali, for that call from Yola. But let me make a correction. I've not been around here since 1999. He's probably mistaking me for Chief Emmanuel Bello, who is my namesake in Adamawa State.
Okay.
Yes, I started my career in Taraba sometime in 2010. And yes, we've done some things here. But the period and time I've spent here have actually helped me to understand some of these problems, firsthand, apart from the fact that I do my own job as a journalist too. So that way, I, of course, understand very well the crisis, the very big crisis of herders on one hand, and of course, farmers on the other hand. In Taraba, I think the experience so far over the years has been the fact, and it will interest you to know that we have one of the largest stock of cows in our state. If you're talking about herd, we really, the Mambila Plateau is arguably one area that has the largest number of the body of cows in the country. I mean, we can boast as we can make that boast as a state that has a lot of herders and a lot of cows, and so we grapple with this problem every time. And agriculture is encompassing, as Ali is saying. It's not just about farmers; it's also about pastoralists, it's about herders. And you have to, if you're catering for farmers and you're talking about fertilizers and the rest, you have to actually worry about cattle, what to do with them. Cattle is not that. That's why in Taraba State, for instance, we create a lot of cattle markets. We try to make cattle rearing and the farming around the issue of cattle very conducive. And he's right. The best practice all over the world, everybody has known, is ranching. When you ranch your cows and you stop them from foraging or taking those long trips, you have better yield from the cows. You have better stock. I think almost everybody is in agreement on that. And even countries where they have got larger number of cows than Nigeria, they've embraced ranching as a system. Just last week, 3 weeks ago, the state government, Taraba State government, and Benue State came together again. Start with leaders of Yeti Allah and other, social.
Okay.